Nicole from Flower Hill Farm. I'm growing flowers in upstate New York Zone 4B, and today the sun is shining. It's 46 degrees. The snow and ice is melting, and it's time for me to start some seeds. So I start seeds a couple of different ways. I have done it just like random seeds on a tray before, like I did with Lisianthus when I started that a few months ago. I'd use plug trays, and I also soil block. So I'll show you how I use some of those methods. Okay, so we're in the basement grow room, and I have my stuff kind of spread out all over the basement. That is going to change. My 10-year-old boxer's down here. She will be making noises. Just ignore the dog in the room. So I have stuff spread out all over the place. I've got a shelf over here. I've got a shelf over there. And then I've got my heat mats all the way over on the other side of the room. The plan is to kind of make this a cohesive space. At some point, I'm not 100% sure when, but the entire left side of my basement is going to be my growing space, where I'll have several shelving units set up and a whole row of heat mats. So I won't have to be worried about where I'm gonna put my seedlings once they have emerged from the seed cases. So let's talk about that. So I started, it's been a whirlwind weekend of seed starting. I started thousands of seeds. So what did I start? Well, I started some phlox, and now phlox doesn't need a heat mat to germinate. It can germinate on temperatures of 60 to 65 degrees, and check your seed packets, it'll tell you, or go on the Google machine and ask the internet what temperature should I germinate a certain seed at if you don't know. So I actually had the phlox seed packet. So here are some of my floxy foos. Okay, so I did the chocolate brownie with crushed nut version of phlox. So this is Blushing Bride, Sugar Stars, these are the two varieties I have on it. So this is a soil blocking method, and there's 240 soil blocks on this tray. So I have 60 Sugar Star phlox, and then I have 3 times 60, 180 phlox Blushing Bride. These were started on March 7th. They're all labeled so beautifully. They also do not like to be exposed to the light when they germinate, so I covered them with vermiculite, and they don't need the heat either, so they go up on top of the shelf and stay up here. And I use plastic wrap. I reuse all my plastic wrap. I'll wash that and use it on the next one, and I don't even go through a thing of it. I mean, I'm still using my same package of plastic wrap from last year. So that acts as a humidity dome to keep the moisture and the humidity in, to kind of speed up the germination process. So I have 2 trays of phlox. The other one's up here as well. Same thing. It's the brownie covered in crushed nuts, and it's the cherry caramel or caramello, and the starry eyes phlox. Same thing, same germination requirements, same temperature, same cover the seed with vermiculite, etc., etc. So this is up here. And the other thing that I have up here is my delphinium. This is the same idea. You can get a better look at these soil blocks now, that because I don't have the plastic on this. This is the belladonna. And same idea, actually. See, the difference is this tray was sown at the same time as the phlox, and because I didn't have the plastic on this one is already dried out and needs water. So I'm gonna have to water this one. And how do you water soil blocks? Super simple. Just pour the water in the tray and they'll soak up from the bottom. Let's do that now. So now we're over at the other shelving unit that I have. This, believe it or not, is Anemone. It is ready to go in the ground, and I can put this in the ground as soon as my snow is gone and the ground thaws, which it's starting to. Hopefully within the next week and a half I'll be able to do that, because they are getting a little bit too big for their britches. They're growing at a much faster rate than any other, and this is the Jerusalem anemones. The other anemones that I started are not growing this fast. So it's interesting to see the difference in the growth rate of the varieties. And now I'll know next time Jerusalem doesn't need to be started so soon. It's tricky. You never know when the ground is gonna thaw. So these 3 trays right here are round 2 of the ranunculus. Oh, you can't even really see them. No, not even that good. The whole light situation down here is not great. So this is round 2 of the ranunculus, and they're ready for the ground as well. 3 different kinds, 1, 2, 3. These ones all grew at the same rate, whereas the first, excuse you, that was a big yawn. The first round of my ranunculus, I had the labelle grow at a much faster rate, and those are right here. These are dying to get in the ground. This is the, but they all still look great. There's no sign of anything. There's one leaf here that's getting a little yellow. I'm not really concerned about that. They're just waiting. And our temperatures this week are looking like phenomenal, and they're not really showing any signs of struggle. Like, take a look. I just pulled this one out. That's not really root bound at all. It looks really healthy. The plant itself looks phenomenal. They all are bright and green and delicious. So as soon as the temperatures allow, which it's gonna be this week, we're gonna lose all of our snow, and then we can put them out there to grow to their fullest potential. I'm really happy with these, really happy. And then we've got the multiple trays of Lisianthus. Here's one that I keep showing on, I put this on Instagram a lot. Here are the babies. This is a 200 plug tray. I think they look phenomenal and beautiful, and I love them so much. They're 9 weeks old now, so they're a little over 9 weeks old now, and this is the stage that they're at. I would say they're between a nickel and a quarter. A nickel and a quarter. I also have some sweet peas that I started already. I do a couple of rounds of sweet peas because I never know when I'm gonna be able to get them in the ground. So I already have some that are already pinched. I have this tray that I have to pinch. Look at it, it looks so good. They're so green and luscious and thick. Oh, you can't see it. How about I bring it out for you? That's a good idea. Look at them. This is different than the tray that I showed you last week. These are my midnights, I think. Nope, these are the old times. The midnights are over there. The midnights I gave them a haircut. I always get sidetracked. Weren't we going over to the heat mat? We were going over to the heat mat. Let's look. So I decided to start my poppies, which they're Iceland poppies. I mistakenly said champagne bubbles because I did order champagne bubbles. They just didn't, they were out of stock with my geo order. I did not get them. So I got the Iceland poppies, and I decided to start them in 72 plug trays. I was reading up on Florette's blog about growing poppies, and she said that they need light to germinate, but you should lightly cover them with a fine layer of vermiculite. So that's what I did here. I've got just a very fine layer of vermiculite over top of the poppies, and these were just sown just 2 days ago. I think the date's right on here. 3/6. So it was just a couple of days ago. I don't see anything yet. Aha! Right here I have some foxglove, first year flowering foxglove, and I've got a lot of germination going on. One thing I should warn you about using these plastic pieces to keep the humidity is that sometimes the seedlings will stick to the top. Like right here, there are 2 seedlings. There's one right there where my finger is, and there's one right there. So you kind of have to peel it back and place the seedling back on the dirt where it belongs. It's clingy. So just make sure as you lift it up and you're looking at your seedlings, there's 1, 2, 3, there's 4 of them that are stuck to the plastic. So all you have to do is grab it and put it back in its little home on its soil block, but don't throw them out. You might have better germination than it looks like when you first lift up your top. So anyway, these are more than 50% germinated. I'll probably pull them off the heat mat pretty soon. Ooh. So my Dusty Miller seeds are cracking, but I don't see any growth yet. But that's a good sign that the seeds themselves are starting to crack. Let's go into my garage and I can show you how I soil block and what that whole method is about. Don't mind the mess in my garage. This is also where my husband fixes all of the things. So he's got shelves lined up all over. This is basically his grow room. This is where he fixes things. But this is where I set up because we like to be together. So we set up this table and I brought up my soil blocking stuff, and this is where I hung out all weekend making the soil blocks. So this is a giant tub, and I'm using Vermont compost. It's what I used last year. I'm finding that it holds up better than the Lambert, so I like the Lambert and the Pro Mix for using in the plug trays, but I'm not 100% sure that they're the best for the soil blocking. So you could probably add something to it to make it better in the soil blocks, but the Eryngium that I started in the soil blocks with the Lambert is kind of falling apart a little bit. So I want to make sure that I have good, healthy seedlings that are ready to go in the ground. So I have the little more expensive Vermont compost, and it's kind of wet still, but it's not wet enough because a couple of days has gone by since I added the water. So I'm going to add a little bit more water. And I usually like to add warm water. Just goes, the seedlings like it, it's easier on your hands, etc., etc. And just mix it up. It's pretty much mixed already. It just needed to have a little bit more moisture to stick together nice in the soil blocks. You'll see what I mean. So that was real quick. And this isn't like a how to do soil blocks. I'm just showing you quickly because a lot of people have been asking about how I soil block. So I'm just gonna make one for you guys. So here is my soil, and this is my soil block. So I made, when I say me, I mean Brad. Brad made a little bit of an adjustment to my soil blocker because I'm gonna have a moment of truth with you guys. I don't love soil blocking. And here's why. It hurts me. It hurts. It physically pains me. I have bruises on my palm. It hurts to make them because I'm making so many. If I was just making a couple of trays worth, fine, whatever. But, so Brad took this and he made some adjustments. So he added a piece of rubbery foam to almost, it's like maybe it goes on the outside of a pipe. I'll have to ask him what it is. But he zip tied it to the top because this was just bare metal that I was pushing down repeatedly over and over and over and over and over again. And then my fingers were hurting on this part too. He ended up adding the same thing there, but it was too thick and I couldn't get my fingers around because you have to like squeeze right there, drop some dirt. But anyway, so there are soil blocks that you can purchase that have the rubber coating on them. I highly suggest that if you are going to be doing soil blocking at a larger scale or doing a lot of them at once, you get the one with the rubber coating because this is painful after doing it over and over and over again. And I am not someone with a low threshold for pain. Not at all. I don't usually complain about anything being painful, and this was just bruising my palm because of how often I was using it. So this works right now. This is great. Thank you, Brad. He's a genius. He can make anything happen when I ask him. But in the future, we're going to be purchasing one with a rubber coating. Also because I want two of them. I'm not gonna get rid of this one, but if I have like my mom or my mother-in-law or my friend come over and help me do soil blocking, if there are two of us, it'll go a lot quicker. So I would like a second one. Brad is ordering what's called a rubber dip. So I don't know, let me see how much it is. I have to take back something that I just said. Because I was just so Brad had been looking up to see if there was a soil blocker that came with a rubber grip. And he told me that, yeah, here it is right here. And he showed me the picture quick. I didn't look closely enough because it looks like the only one that comes with a rubber grip are the 2-inch soil blockers that you use for the larger seeds. I don't use that very much. So it looks like what his plan is to buy some rubber tool dip and dip it in rubber in order to get that finish so that it doesn't hurt my hands. So I guess that's kind of the only way we have to go here. The rubber dip is not super cheap. It's not as expensive as a soil block, but it's kind of in the middle. So I guess that's what we're gonna have to do. But yeah, the foam on top though, that works. I almost knocked I'm soaking some more sweet peas over here. I've got Elegance mix sweet peas. They're my last succession of sweet peas that I'm gonna plant. So they're soaking. Soil blocker, it's got 20 holes. 20 3/4-inch holes. 4 times 5 equals 20. So all you do is you kick the camera. That's the first step. Kick the camera. And then you kind of just shimmy it down into that. And I do it twice because it looks like it's full right here. It looks like it's full, but there's gonna be some holes in there. I like to do it twice to make sure that that's full. If you would like, you may take something, like I stole one of my husband's saw bits, and I can shave off the excess. I've used a butter knife before. That just makes it even on top. A lot of times I prefer not shaving the bottom off because I feel like it gives it just that little bit more room to grow with its roots. So I like to push the part down, to push it down to kind of compact and push all the soil together. And then what you have to do is release up. And then you have 20 soil blocks and a little bit of extra dirt for fun. Those are pretty nice ones. Can't you see it? There they are. Tasty, tasty soil blocks. They look like brownies. Every time I post a picture of them, or every time I have company over and they come over and they see me doing this, they're like, what are you making, brownies? No, no. Yes, sure, try one. No, no, it's dirt, silly. I'll make the other one. What should I start? I'll start something today. It gets a little dirty if you let the soil go on top like that. You should keep it clean on top. Whoops, you know, like a good person. Okay, squeezing it out, squeeze it out, and then lift. Oh my gosh, look, it's 40 perfect little babies. So I have a feeling that someone's gonna ask what this thing is. This is a lift for a snowmobile. It's for a snowmobile. Anyway, you put it, you like attach it to the snowmobile and it gives it wheels and you can just push the snowmobile out of the way. Anyway, I knew somebody's gonna ask. So it's, Brad works on a bunch of, Brad's the neighborhood mechanic, even though that's not his job. He just knows how to fix all of the things. So when something breaks down, it comes to this garage. So he's got all of the space. So now I have 40 beautiful beds for some seeds. What shall we start? Ooh, let's do some Rudbeckia. Exhibit A, broken down four-wheeler that does not belong to us. Beautiful. So I have my soil blocks. This is a table where I do the bocking. I've got my towel. This is actually the porch table. If you've watched any of my summertime videos, this table is usually on the porch. And so these are my porch chairs too. But we brought them in the garage for the season. And this is where I've been starting all of my seeds. It's a mess. I don't care. This is life. So I have Irish Eyes Rudbeckia from Geo Seeds. I also have the rustic mix that I haven't started. I already have started the chim chimney. Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim choo. Okay. I always use scissors when I open Geo because the seed packets are plastic lined. And then I'll dump the seeds into a little thingamabobber, a little cooking thing, and lick a toothpick, lick and stick. That's what it's called, folks. No, literally, you lick it, lick, pick, stick. Lick, pick, stick. It's a lick, pick, stick. These Rudbeckia do not need to go on the heat mat because according to, here I have a Johnny's Rudbeckia seed packet, it will germinate, well, 68 to 72 degrees. My basement is about 65, so I don't feel absolutely necessary to go ahead and put them on the heat mat, but I probably would if I had space. I don't have space, so I'm gonna set them off to the side. I do have half of my Rudbeckia on the heat mat, the other half is on just a table down there. And that's it. That took me what? Well, the timer on this part isn't even 4 minutes yet, and I didn't start the seeds, so it probably took me like 2.5 minutes to do that. Not even. So now I have 40 baby chim chimneys in here, and nope, they're not chim chimneys. They're Irish Eyes. Irish Eyes are great. They're fantastic. I love them. I'm beyond excited for the Rudbeckia this year. I did not grow them in 2020. My flower friend Gina, about an hour from me, she grew them and they were fantastic. Her row of them was not very long and she said the blooms just pumped out of that space all day long. She couldn't keep up with harvesting them. I'm really hopeful that I will be able to duplicate that this year here at Flower Hill Farm because those blooms just add pops of color. They're like little miniature sunflowers. They're huge. Her blooms were 4 or 5 inches wide, really. They were phenomenal. So I just wanted to give you guys an update on what I was doing here at the farm with seed starting. It's getting underway. So now we're about, I would say 9 weeks away from my last frost date, average, maybe 10, depends on the weather, you never know. I would say in about a week, things are gonna get crazy. 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, that's when a lot, I mean the majority of my seeds get started. And then again at 4 weeks before, that's when all of my warm weather crops get started. Oh my goodness, things are going to get crazy here in the seed making department. I should put up some GoPros and watch me do this all day long. It would be kind of funny. So anyway, so thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you soon. Kittens are awake. Good morning, babies. Hey, hey. This is Hey Hey, named after the chicken and Moana. Hi, Hey Hey. I love you. Okay, so we're in my basement, and no, we're not. It's my garage. It hurts. I mean, like you probably can't see it anymore, but it's been a couple of days. But I was bruised. It was the boo-boo.